A dramatic showdown erupted in Essex this week as a Reform UK councillor's attempt to champion democracy and unity was drowned out in a sea of mockery and chaos. Councillor Jamie McIver, determined to stand against what he called a cowardly decision to cancel local elections, unfurled a Union Jack flag in the council chamber, a bold, patriotic statement that should have symbolised pride and accountability. Instead, it was met with jeers, heckling, and outright disdain from Tory and Labour councillors, igniting a scandal that has sent shockwaves across the country. Now, buckle up as we unravel the shocking details of this unfolding drama. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the fallout promises to shake the political landscape. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned as we dive into every twist and turn of this explosive story. Jamie McIver entered the Essex County Council meeting with a clear mission: to stand against what he and his party viewed as an affront to democracy. The council's decision to cancel May's local elections, citing the £2.5 million cost and the pending reorganisation of local government, had angered thousands of residents who felt silenced. McIver saw it as a brazen attempt to avoid scrutiny and dodge accountability. He wasn't alone. Thousands had signed a petition demanding the elections proceed as planned. Yet their voices were dismissed by the Conservative and Labour councillors who pressed forward with their plans. The chamber was already tense when McIver decided to make his statement. With cameras rolling, he unfurled the Union Jack, a powerful emblem of freedom and democracy, and began to speak. His words, calling for respect for the democratic process and the rights of Essex residents, should have resonated. Instead, his message was drowned out by laughter and mocking. The jeers intensified as he stood his ground, refusing to be silenced. To McIver, this wasn't just about elections, it was about the principles that underpin British democracy. But to his opponents, it was a grandstanding stunt, an unnecessary disruption. When McIver left the meeting, the weight of the event hit him hard. Speaking to GB News, he described his frustration and sadness. "You get a bit of jeering in politics, but this was something else," he said. "It's one thing to laugh at me, but to laugh at the people of Essex who want their voices heard and to mock the flag that represents their freedoms, it's just so sad." The video footage of the incident quickly went viral, sparking a fierce public debate.
To remember men and women who have died for this country to give us the right to vote, the right for democracy to prevail. We are serving those people a disservice to their memory, the lives that they have lost. We serve them a disservice when we say democracy doesn't matter when money is involved. And I will wrap the flag of my country that I proudly represent.
You stood up, you called it out, and for that you were heckled.
Well, first of all, thank you to GB News for taking this so seriously on behalf of the people of Essex, because everyone is outraged by what's happened. What happened to me in the council chamber, you get a bit of jeering in politics, but I was actually really saddened. When I left the meeting, people saying, "How did it go?" I just feel sad. I think what's happened is a very sad thing in our country, that so many people are going to be denied the opportunity to vote. I think it's a last-minute decision, actually. We're just months away from long-standing local elections, and thousands of people in Essex have signed a petition saying they want to vote. And to laugh at those people whose names are on that petition is one thing. To laugh as I wrap our country's flag, that I believe is a symbol of democracy and freedom and political accountability, to laugh as I bring that flag, it's just so sad. Well, the most noise come from the Labour members, but then I am sitting quite close to them. Yeah. There was Conservative ones shouting. It was just a really bad...
Why were the Conservatives shouting?
Well, good question, because as a former member of the Conservative Party, one of the things that I think binds our party, and did used to bind the Conservative Party, was that belief in democracy and freedom and stuff. So I don't know why. I assume it's just because I'm now a member of a different party and they throw principles out of the way when it doesn't suit them, maybe.
Reform UK supporters and democracy advocates rallied around McIver, praising his courage and condemning the council's behaviour. Meanwhile, his critics accused him of exploiting the Union Jack for political gain, dismissing his actions as a performative gesture. The divide was clear, and the controversy showed no signs of fading. At the centre of this storm was the council's controversial reorganisation plan, which would see Essex County Council and 12 district councils replaced by larger super authorities. These new bodies would manage populations of at least 500,000 and oversee services ranging from social care to bin collections. A directly elected mayor would lead a new Greater Essex Combined Authority. Council leader Kevin Bentley defended the move as a necessary step to streamline services and save taxpayers' money. "This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity," Bentley declared, framing the decision as a pragmatic solution rather than a political manoeuvre. But to McIver and his supporters, the timing of the decision was deeply suspect. With local elections just months away, the sudden push for reorganization felt like a deliberate effort to avoid facing voters. The Reform UK party, gaining traction across the country, posed a growing threat to the established parties. McIver suggested that both the Conservatives and Labour were running scared, unwilling to risk losing seats in a shifting political landscape. His accusations of cowardice added fuel to an already raging fire. While Essex grappled with its scandal, another controversy was reigniting tensions in Wales. The resurfacing of a Welsh Refugee Council (WRC) video featuring schoolgirls welcoming migrants had sparked outrage, with critics accusing the organisation of irresponsibly involving children in political messaging. The video, originally shared as a positive example of inclusivity, had been taken down last year, but resurfaced recently, attracting widespread attention. Prominent figures, including tech mogul Elon Musk, weighed in, accusing the video of being used to entice migrants to the UK. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp called the WRC's decision to share the video deeply irresponsible, especially in light of ongoing grooming gang scandals. Former Welsh Conservatives leader Andrew R.T. Davies went further, accusing Welsh Labour of using children as propaganda to promote their pro-refugee agenda. The WRC defended itself, insisting that the video was a school-led project designed to celebrate compassion and inclusion, not a recruitment tool. In a statement, the organisation condemned the spread of misinformation and expressed concern for the safety of its staff. But the damage had been done. The video became a lightning rod for broader debates about immigration, asylum policies, and the ethical boundaries of political messaging. Critics on both sides of the issue dug in, turning the controversy into yet another battleground in the UK's fractious political climate. As these domestic scandals dominated headlines, the world's attention shifted to the Middle East, where negotiations between Israel and Hamas offered a glimmer of hope in the long-running conflict. Reports suggested that a ceasefire deal was within reach, with both sides agreeing to a phased exchange of hostages and prisoners. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, under immense international pressure, had reportedly softened his stance, opening the door to a potential resolution. Under the proposed agreement, Hamas would release 34 hostages in the initial stages of the truce, while Israel would free hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Humanitarian aid to Gaza would be increased, and discussions about rebuilding the war-torn region would begin. The deal also included provisions for Israeli troops to withdraw gradually from Gaza, though Israel insisted on maintaining security control over key areas. The negotiations, facilitated by Qatar and supported by both President Joe Biden and Donald Trump, represented a rare moment of cooperation in an otherwise deeply divided geopolitical landscape. But the road to peace remained fraught with challenges. Skeptics questioned whether Hamas would honour its commitments, while hardliners in Netanyahu's government pushed back against any concessions. The fragile agreement could collapse at any moment, leaving the region teetering on the brink of further violence. For British Foreign Secretary David Lammy, who visited Jerusalem as the talks unfolded, the stakes were clear. Meeting with Israeli officials, Lammy emphasised the need for a swift resolution and reiterated the UK's commitment to supporting peace efforts. Yet even as hopes for a ceasefire grew, the shadow of past failures loomed large. The international community could only watch and wait, hoping that this time the promises of peace would hold. Back in Essex, McIver continued to fight for the people he believed had been silenced. His critics dismissed him as a populist provocateur, but for many residents, he had become a symbol of resistance against political complacency. The jeers in the council chamber may have drowned out his voice that day, but the scandal had only amplified his message. As the country debated the future of democracy, immigration, and international conflict, one thing was certain: the fight for accountability and justice was far from over. Stay tuned as this story develops, and don't miss a single update on the scandals shaping our world today.